Hey everybody, this is Justin with Supboard Guide. I've got Bryce here with me as well, and we are kicking off 2021 with something a little bit different, a little bit new. We have a kayak from Bote that we're going to be reviewing today. It is their new Zeppelin, and we are super stoked to kind of tell you about this kayak.
Yeah, just like you're saying, it's something new for 2021, and being able to do a kayak, just something different out on the water, is awesome. Personally, I'm stoked about it because I've been wanting to try a kayak for a while now, because I personally feel like this might be...
We're gonna have a hard time getting you off of this thing, is kind of what it seems after we've been paddling this around.
Definitely.
It's just kind of a great fit for what you like to do.
Definitely. Especially from like the photography standpoint, being able to actually take my gear out and not have to worry about it. So super stoked on this, and you know, the rest of what 2021 has to offer on what we're going to be reviewing.
Yeah, and you know, kind of one of the things that we are going to be doing in Supboard Guide this year is we're going to be going a little bit deeper into other watercraft, because basically anything on the water, that's our passion. You know, it's, as you can tell, I've got this boot, tore my Achilles, so I'm stoked to get this because I could actually get on it, whereas I'm not able to get on the Supboard for the next, you know, month or so.
Yeah, you're out for a little bit.
Yeah, but really, we just love the water, and so we will be expanding a little bit more into kayaks for some things to come. And that's why this is just kind of perfect to start this year with the Zeppelin from Bote. So with that being said, let's kind of dive in. I just want to tell everybody, go to boteboard.com. They have Bote does one of the best jobs in terms of describing their products and telling you who the products are for, what's on them. They have really great videos, and they even have a podcast that I would highly recommend going to. They did a whole 30-minute podcast on the Zeppelin, and it's just fantastic. Like I said, there's not any other companies out there doing that right now, and so I want to give them a shout out for that and tell everybody watching that, go listen to the podcast, go to their website and watch their product reviews, because it's gonna tell you kind of what this is. But so we're gonna kind of walk you through our take, what we think about the Zeppelin, and where we kind of think it fits in. You know, Bote has two other inflatable kayaks. They have the Deus and the Lomo.
The Lono.
Oh, the Lono, excuse me. And those kayaks have been kind of a combo kayak / supboard, and for single paddlers only. And so they kind of had a little gap in their lineup, and that's where the Zeppelin was born. It's a very versatile kayak that goes from the ocean to the river, obviously to lakes, and it's just, what we found so far is it's a ton of fun. And in my opinion, it's kind of a game changer. Where I'm obviously a big stand-up paddleboarder, I think this is something that I definitely want to add to my quiver.
Yeah, definitely. I could easily see myself owning one of these and taking it out more often than even a paddleboard. A lot of that goes into, like, you know, I'm taking around camera gear all the time, and you know, not having to worry about
geese flying in the background.
Yeah, worry about geese flying in the background. Not worrying about tipping over the paddle gear or paddleboard and losing all my gear. And you know, this just, you know, it's extremely stable. I don't have to worry about any of that. And so, you know, just the capabilities of what this has to offer over a normal paddleboard or a kayak,
it's
just
cool.
Like the way they meshed it up was amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. So maybe tell us kind of what's included when you do buy the Zeppelin.
All right, so first thing you'll notice when you get the Zeppelin is this giant bag, waterproof bag, that has so much room in it. It has a main compartment for the board itself. If I can open it up here. Absolutely a ton of room in here. You can easily fit the board. You can fit the inflatable seats that we have here and all the other gear. But to go into what actually comes inside the bag itself.
Well, before we do that, I actually want to put you in the bag instead. I'm just kidding. But
I could probably fit.
Like, honestly, you could put Bryce in the bag.
And that's not even counting this front pocket here for all the other gear that you can get. So what does come in the bag is one 5-piece paddle, kayak paddle, that is fiberglass, and it's actually a great paddle. Honestly, can't even tell like it's fiberglass. It feels almost on par with the carbon paddles we've used.
I would agree. So a lot of times in the stand-up paddleboard kits that we do, a lot of the boards will be kind of they'll say it's a carbon fiber paddle, and in reality it's kind of a carbon fiber / fiberglass mix. The ones that say fiberglass usually are kind of crappy. Like they kind of hurt your hands when you're paddling. They've got these lines that just make it kind of awkward, and this is not that type of fiberglass paddle. At first when I saw fiberglass, I was like, I might have to knock them for that, but I'm not going to give that a negative here. It is a nice paddle. It feels really good. And you know, Bryce, you were talking about how you really like those pads, and I agree. Like it's a nice paddle.
And I think that's what makes the difference with the fiberglass paddle is normally with a subboard paddle, you know, you don't have these foam pads that are contoured towards your grip. Like there was no chafing, there was nothing when we were out there on the lake. Very comfortable as well, good grip, and
That's a good paddle.
Pleased with it. So yeah, when you get the boat, it does come with only one paddle. It only comes with one seat as well. And these seats, you know, boat coming out with the patent pending seat that's inflatable is awesome.
I actually kind of want to just steal these from them so we can use them for the rest of the other subboard reviews. It's super comfortable, especially with me. I tore my Achilles, so I can't stand. So this worked out great to start out 2021. And so to be clear, so you do only get one paddle and one seat, but you can buy an additional one if you want. So that's kind of up to you. And I kind of liked how they did that instead of throwing two in the mix, just because then anyone, even if you just want to use this as a solo kayak, you'd have to pay for that extra seat and that extra paddle, that extra couple $100. If you're just a single person that only wants to take it out solo, you don't want to have to pay for that. So I actually like how they did that.
Right, because not everyone's going to be doing tandem on this kayak. Like personally, I wouldn't be doing tandem on this kayak. I tend to be more on that solo crowd, wanting to do things by myself. But you know, just having the capability, say if I wanted to go on a date or something like that on one of these, just to, you know, get another seat and a paddle, like not too bad.
Yeah, so we've got the paddle, we've got the seat, and then we also
got that pump over there.
Yeah, don't forget the pump. So the pump,
most important part,
is a single chamber pump, and I would say this is better than most pumps that we've reviewed as well. It's definitely on the higher end side of things. It's kind of slick. You can just, if I don't fumble it there, you just kind of, there's two different valves. This is the inflation valve, this is the deflation valve, which I love because then you can suck all the air out if you want. But to inflate it, you just screw this on. Nice and easy. They have, to make it even more compact, they've got these little handles on the side. You screw them in. And it is a dual action. So single action, you're only going to have air go in when you push on the down pump. Dual action is going to push air in on the upstroke and the downstroke. And it took us about 10 minutes is all to pump this up. When we used an electric pump, it took about 3 minutes. So it's actually
extremely quick.
Yeah, definitely a lot easier than a paddleboard. And I think the reason for that is these two side pontoons. So there's three different inflation valves.
You got this top pontoon, you got this other pontoon, and then you got the board itself. And you do the pontoons only to 2 to 3 psi, so that's not really crazy. It felt like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
if that.
Super easy. And then this one, you go to, it's 10 to 15 psi, and you pumped it up to 15, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so I mean, going to 15 psi, going to 3 psi, it took Bryce about 10 minutes to do it. I mean, I haven't done it yet. Again, I'm going to blame the leg and be lazy, but I mean, it sounded like it was pretty easy.
And then the seats, even. I think they only went to 5 to 7 psi.
Oh, really?
Correctly. And so those felt really quick to pump up as well.
Oh, that's slick. Yeah, one of the harder things, and one of our top recommendations is always buy an electric pump. Otherwise, you're going to be sweating before you get into the water. And I don't know if you need it with this one.
Not necessarily. No, the pump did a fantastic job pumping it up. And yeah, the seat, I mean, it felt like 5 strokes on the pump and it was already inflated. These pontoons hardly took any time as well. It's just a center piece that takes most time, and even then, it's not as much as a normal paddleboard because it is a lot thinner than a normal paddleboard.
Yeah, it's only 4 inches thick. And I mean, it doesn't look, it might be 20 inches or so wide. I'm not exactly sure on that, but for sure. So yeah, so good quality pump. I don't think you need to worry about a dual chamber pump or an electric pump, to be honest, if this is all you're taking out, for sure.
Yeah.
So very impressed with that. And like I said, it is, I would put it on the higher quality side of pumps for inflatables.
Especially for a single chamber.
Mm-hmm. And then the other two things that come in with the kit would be that center fin.
Yeah, so we got the center fin with a quick snap.
It's kind of a slide-in fin, and it's some of the other slide-ins, you'll see a lot of them on kind of the cheaper Amazon boards. Mm-hmm. They don't fit very well, and it's like really hard to get in.
This was very snappy, very secure. Didn't worry about that one bit.
It kind of definitely feels like Bote made this for this.
Oh, definitely.
For the kayak for themselves, like it's their own fin.
And even this fin, I mean, on the back it does have two pre-molded fins on the bottom of the pontoon
the
part.
flexi fins, right?
Yeah, it's the flexi fins. But I mean, even this fin, you know, I mean, that's what, 6 inches. You could go in fairly shallow water. Say if you're going down a river on the kayak.
So definitely cool. That the only downside I'd say probably to the fin in not being a US fin box is that if you do lose this, you'd probably have to go back to Bote and order one. But especially with that clip in, you're not going to lose it unless you're, you know, like me, and sometimes you forget little things like that. So just don't forget that. Then obviously you get your repair kit.
You got a repair kit, which I believe
it's probably got a couple patches.
You got the wrench for the valve. Is this the glue?
Oh, that's cool.
It came with the polyurethane for the patches.
A lot of kits don't come with that.
Very neat.
And then the patches. So yeah, that's basically what you get in the kit. It gives you everything that you need to get out on water, and I think Bote did a great job with that. Okay, so now let's kind of dive a little bit deeper into some of the key features and specs of the Zeppelin. And so the Zeppelin is 12 and a half feet long, 38 inches wide by 9 inches tall. These pontoons are 9 inches. And it's basically three main pieces. You have the center board, right? And it uses Bote's Aero technology, so it's their drop stitch, you know, super high quality PVC technology that's just super stable. You've got the side pontoons, and then you also, and those again are 9 inches, so it gives it nice stability. And then you've got their seats that they have.
These seats are a game changer, absolute game changer. Bote has a patent pending on them, and what's cool is like they literally took the inspiration from the paddleboard and put to the seat. So not only are they inflatable, but you know, the same exact BVA deck pad that they have on the paddleboard or the kayak is on the seats as well. You have a bunch of straps which are perfect, so you can get like a great posture. Shoot, you can even take off this top piece and just have the bottom piece if you wanted. But what I think is really cool about it is on the back here is you have a pocket that you can store all the stuff that you want. So, you know, you go in tandem, the person in front of you, you can just like, you know, stick your phone in, you can put your keys on these molly loops here. And I don't know, they just did a really good job of, you know, thinking everything through.
Yeah, I mean, they really did. And to be honest, I was commenting to Bryce, these seats would actually even be kind of sweet just to take down to the beach. You know, I'm always carrying all these seats and stuff with my family, and they compact up so nicely that it makes them very portable, but they are very, very comfortable,
you know,
very nice.
Even with like this little part right here, like just adding that angle, you're not gonna slip off. Like you're really secure on this.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely took some time and thought into this. They just didn't kind of throw it out there as a side thought. So I think they did a really good job there. And so it just kind of lends itself, again, the shape and the design, it just is a real stable kayak. You know, you had me and Bryce on there. We're about 400 pounds-ish, you know, unfortunately. We probably could lose a little weight right now. But, you know, there wasn't 1 second where I felt like I wasn't going to be stable. You know, like I actually had to get doctor's permission to do this because I'm not supposed to get this wet. And I honestly wasn't even nervous. Like, it's just, there's no way you're tipping this thing over.
Yeah, we were rocking the boat and the boat was not rocking.
Yeah, it's great. And even you and Anthony were kind of standing on it a little bit, kind of moving it around.
I did a Karate Kid move.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries at all with stability.
Not the best Karate Kid move, but it's okay.
Yeah, show it.
Yeah, so like I said, it's definitely a very stable board. And as you look at the board, you can see it's decked out with a lot of nice accessories. So we want to, or features. So we want to kind of go through those. You know, starting at, you know, from this end to that end. And on both ends, they have that 1/4-inch GoPro mount. Which is great because you can mount, you know, 2 different GoPros, other accessories that can have that same.
I just want to make
mount.
a note on that. They actually got the correct thread size on it, so you don't have to get some special accessory to mount your GoPro. You can mount your GoPro
Instead of all those converters that we have that
yeah.
someone might lose all the time. It's kind of a pain. But yeah, it is just nice. It just, again, goes down to that detail. So they did a good job there. Kind of coming down, they've got their rack mount system. And so they have these mounts that you just slide in, and you can add all kinds of different fishing mounts and make this a, you know, a good fishing kayak, other things that just add a lot of kind of functionality to the kayak. So you can go to Bote's website, you can see all the different accessories that kind of fit with this rack mount system.
And what really
just
makes
in and out easy.
That whole jack of all trades deal is the fact that you have accessories like that you can make it a fishing kayak.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
And you know, actually my favorite feature of this whole thing is right here in the center. It's their Magnapod. So they have a whole bunch of accessories, such as this cup right here that you know, it's just a little magnetic disc in there, and you know, being able to, you know, have your drink and not worry about spilling over. I'm really excited to see all the accessories that they do come out with that, because haven't seen a feature like that. It's just really neat, very strong magnet.
I'd also say they actually kind of, I mean, if I'm going to give them kind of one thing that I'd love to see it, I would actually like to see additional, multiple Magnapods, so you can have 2 drinks. Like if you're out with another person,
it's a tandem.
You're going to kind of fight over who gets to sit in the back and use this one. They set it up really nice to where it is, you know, the rack system, the Magnapod, the bungees up front. It fits really well with the seats when you have 2 people on it.
We're kind of worried about that at first, but no, the mounts and, you know, the Magnapod, they placed it perfectly on this board. But yes, one additionally up here or back, you know, there probably could be 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, we'll let them figure that out. All we're gonna say is we wish there were 2.
You know, moving just above the Magnapod here is you have these side carry handles, which makes it great for solo carrying. You know, I keep harping on the fact that I'm probably not going to be the person that does it tandem, and the fact that I can carry it from the center there is amazing. The paddle boards that we've gotten that have these side carry handles, I've absolutely loved. I don't, you know, care about the center carry, but you couldn't do that with these pontoon sides. But they also do on the front and the back have additional carrying handles for if you are going with someone else, or to carry it out of water, anything like that. So you know, the placement of the handles, let alone the fact that they're very comfortable, was a very nice touch by Bote.
And I just add kind of, you know, with the front and rear handle, like I definitely think my 2 of my kids could launch this, because it is only that 41 pounds, and so they definitely help when you are launching and kind of taking it out.
It's really not a ridiculous weight, given the fact that
how big,
you know, you have like 2 different pieces, and some subboards actually kind of creep up on that weight as it is.
Yeah.
You know, moving up forward a little bit more, you got a bungee cargo section where you can, you know, strap on a cooler, your jacket, anything like that. You could put a dry bag in there, and again, it's such a stable board, you're not going to worry about that falling off. So, you know, even if you have it loosely on this bungee cargo, you know, I feel pretty safe with it.
Yeah, and I would say kind of, you know, just looking at it, you know, because as you kind of go through these things, like I'm trying to find some things like maybe, we always want to try to point out things where we'd like to see companies kind of improve. Obviously,
everyone can improve.
First run, I gotta say it's really hard for me to find something here. Yeah, like they do have these 4 D-rings in the back, and they're a little bigger than the D-rings up front, it looks like. And there's not D-rings on the side there. Maybe they could add a couple more. And again, I'm stretching it here.
I imagine that has to do with the accessories with their rack mount there.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, there's not too much to really harp on from an accessory standpoint. The only other thing that we did want to mention is they do have the straps here to hold 2 paddles, and that's just really nice because when you're out kayaking, you're going to want to set your paddle to the side,
right?
You know, grab your cup of coffee or whatever you're drinking, have a sandwich or whatever. So that's really nice that you can do that. And then
well, actually, even so much so as, you know, it's one person carrying the kayak. You can just strap it on there and carry it with you.
Good point.
Not to make 2 trips.
And then probably just the last thing we just want to mention again is that self-draining deck. It is a really slick feature that they built in, where basically the water as it kind of runs down in between these pontoons and this deck floor, and then just on the bottom there's the holes and it just kind of runs out. And so that does make it just so you can, you know, take on a wave when you're taking, because you're going to take on water no matter what. You're on the water, right? But we found that it does a really good job.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was nervous about. I was like, oh man, like by the time I'm done with this, like I'm gonna be sitting in an inch of water and it's that's all it is. But no, the water, you know, it started creeping down through the little crevices, and you know, slowly but surely it was no water on top while I was kayaking, so that was great.
Yeah, it did a great job.
And then also when we took it out of the water, the drain holes on the bottom, like you see how much water actually leaves there.
Yeah,
it's kind of impressive.
Yeah, it is. They kind of left it a little bit loose on the bottom. That's what it looks like. They made it loose so it as the water pools up, it'll kind of fill there and then run out.
Right.
So yeah, it'd be nice to kind of test it in an ocean setting or in like a river setting where you do hit some waves.
See how fast it can drain.
And you know, we're hoping that they'll send this back out to us after we've got to send it to the next media site. But if they do, we'll definitely test that out and kind of update this review for sure. Talk about kind of the overall performance of the kayak, right? Like BOTE kind of makes 3 claims with this. Number 1, that it's a very versatile kayak. You can do, you know, they claim it can go from the ocean to the river and any lake in between, right? They also talk about how it's good for, you know, how it's very lightweight and how it's extremely portable, right? And so if I'm evaluating it from those 3 characteristics, I gotta say I tend to think that they did a really good job. You know, as I've been testing this and paddling it around, there's kind of 2 different scenarios that immediately jumped out to my mind where I would just absolutely love to have this and add it to my quiver. You know, we've got like 60 or 70 paddle boards.
Right.
I'd love to add this as well for two occasions. Number 1, I always go down at least once a year down to San Diego with my family to Spalka La Jolla shores, and we paddle out to the coves, and it's a ton of fun. But you do have to get out past the surf break there. And like last year we went out and it was like a 4 to 5 foot swell. I always have some nieces and nephews that get a little bit nervous, right? And I may dump 1 or 2 of them occasionally. I think this would do a lot better job. It'd make them feel a lot more comfortable. You know, a lot of people just aren't super comfortable on a stand-up paddleboard, but they want to get out on the water. Because this is so stable, like I think it would do a great job in kind of cutting through some of those waves with that, you know, self-draining deck. I think it'd be a fantastic, you know, additional watercraft that I would have.
Definitely.
So I think that would be awesome. Also, I always go, you know, Lake Powell's just a couple hours from here, and I love going down there with my family, and we'll take out 3 or 4 stand-up paddle boards, and we'll go paddle literally all day long. We're talking 6 to 8 hours. Everybody's just exhausted by the end, and I want this to take there in addition to a couple of my subs, right? Because then we can kind of rotate back and forth. You get tired, and it'd be a perfect kind of complementary watercraft to a stand-up paddleboard. So it's definitely not something, I mean, obviously if you have to choose between, you know, we're fortunate for it, we generally don't, but it would just be a lot of fun for my family. I feel very comfortable on it with my wife and probably my 4-year-old as well. We'd have to kind of figure out the paddling part. But yeah, so I would definitely agree on all of those points. Like it does a really good job.
No, I agree too. I mean, you know, we've been testing it and, you know, haven't had to deal with any swells or anything like that, or haven't been able to go on a river or the beach. But, you know, just like kind of pushing it to what we're able to push it to, I could easily see this being a very stable board in a lot of conditions. Going back to Lake Powell, I mean, just last year I went and kayaked Lake Powell on one of those cheap plastic rental kayaks, and there was a few foot swells and I was not having a great time. There's jet skis and, you know, it's just like all the worst thing. Like, you do not want to be on the paddle board for high winds, and I really think that this thing could take it on like a champ. And you know, I'd be really interested to take it out there, bigger body of water, and really test it to its limits regarding that. And then, you know, even going back to, you know, I don't have any kids or anything like that, but, you know, it's a tandem board, so you know, I could take someone on a date. Or I can even take my dogs. I got 2 dogs, and on a paddleboard, they're freaking out. They don't know how to just sit and lay there. And so, I mean, they're going up, and I'm going to fall in regardless of my dogs on there. But with this, I feel like they'd be very stable, very secure, not be freaking out, trying to drink the water or anything like that. And you know, I'd be really interested to try that out with my dogs on there.
Yeah. And one other thing that I was thinking about is, you know, it's kind of nice to mix things up a little bit from a SUP. It's, you know, it's similar kind of workout, but I do appreciate that it's a little bit different. And so I can kind of do both and hit those muscle groups just a little bit differently.
Definitely. When we were out here testing it earlier, even, you know, I was going back and forth on the lake like we normally do with the paddle boards, just as fast as I possibly could. You know, paddleboard's a great workout, but this was just, you know, I hit the muscles just that much differently. Yeah. And I was feeling it by the time I got back to shore. So yeah, it's definitely a great workout.
Yeah, and it like I said, it just kind of, it's good to, I like how it mixes things up, you know. Like when I go to California, for example, my car, my van, I'll have 5 surfboards. I usually bring 2 stand-up paddle boards as well, plus my family and all our gear, right? We're loaded. And, you know, speaking to the portability of this, I can actually add this to that mix, and that's exactly what I would do. I would throw it on with my inflatable SUPs, with the kayak, and with my surfboards, and I can get there. So, I mean, the doors that this opens, because it is so portable and because it is so light, it is kind of a game changer. Like it's kind of made me think a lot more about the inflatable kayak, and I think this is gonna be one of those pieces of watercraft. Like 3 years ago when we started doing a lot, you know, with the inflatable SUPs, everybody at the lake would just be like, hey, wait, what is that? It's inflatable? You can't, you know, they didn't believe it. And now we're seeing SUPs everywhere. I have a feeling we're gonna start seeing a lot more kayaks. So we'll see.
I mean, you can see those toy inflatable kayaks or pontoons,
or the plastic ones that just
they don't hold up very well. I feel bad for everyone that's out there riding on them, but I mean, this, like, I would love to have one just to take out all the time. I could see this as being like the main thing I would take out, especially with how portable it is. I mean, sure, the bag's bigger than a SUP board bag, but I mean, it's a kayak. Like, you can go a lot more places, I feel like. Be out there longer, and you know, I would easily throw this in the trunk of my car and go anywhere with it.
Line, like if you're someone looking for a very versatile, lightweight, and portable kayak, this definitely checks those boxes. You know, I think you can definitely get into debates on a kayak versus SUP, and I think that's not the point here. The point is that it's just an additional, you know, thing that's just really cool. And I think BOTE has just kind of checked all the boxes. You know, we've made a couple comments, like I mentioned, we always try to give a couple things that we'd like to see improved, and beyond maybe adding, you know, an extra Magnapod or 2. You know, maybe with the paddle, you know, you could go like a full carbon paddle and get a little more performance paddle. But I mean, BOTE even mentions it themselves. This is more of a jack of all trades, not an expert level like speed, you know, kayak. So I don't know if you need to pay for that full carbon paddle. You know, they've really just kind of hit most of those boxes and done a great job with this. So again, if you are looking for a good versatile kayak that is inflatable and portable, this is one I definitely recommend. So yeah, so I guess kind of bottom line, if there's any questions or anything that you think that we didn't address, please leave comments down below. We're happy to answer questions. There will also be a link to our full in-depth review with pictures. We'll go over all the specs and just everything in that written review. There'll be a link down below that. And then as always, please, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be having a lot more videos that we're putting out this year, and we hope that helped.